Hello, Cleveland, and welcome to your TA for the day in 10 minutes or less. We'll see. Sometimes I go over, but let's get into it. All right, so what do we got here? As we can see from yesterday when we put in a new all-time high, that this morning it was broken once again, and a new all-time high has been put in of, let's put a line there, and then we can adjust it. There we go. What's the new all-time high? 108,264.9. So let's adjust that line real quick. 108,264.09. All right. There's our new all-time high, our new resistance level. Now, what can we see happening since yesterday? Okay, so since yesterday when that 107, what was it, 107.4, 107.6, something like that, came in, I suggested that we look down here at the 5-minute chart, and that showed me that we were going to stay, that we needed to stay up and over 106. Now we got a little bit down under it, but for the most part we stayed up and over the 200 moving average on the 5. That was a good sign, and that was what drove the Bully Bulls up to put in that new all-time high. Since then, we've seen a massive dump. Massive. I mean, not super massive. It's only $2,000 just about, which equates to roughly 2%, a little less. So like a 2% dip. Nothing to really worry about. However, if we do get past this local now support here at around 105.5, we'll say, if we can stay above there, good. If we drop below there, expect further downside. Why could we drop below there? We're staying here on this 5-minute chart just because the volatility is so high today that looking at the 6-hour isn't really gonna tell us much. So see, 6-hour. Yeah, we kind of see this little bull flag, tiny little bull flag forming here on the 6-hour. But see that blue line? That's where that blue line we just drew on the 5 is. So we got to stay up there to maintain that little bull flag. Otherwise, coming back down to retest our old all-time high of 103.859. We're going to adjust those coordinates to just be 103.900 for ease. So yeah, if we can stay up above 103.9, actually, let's bring it down a little more. Yeah, let's bring it down to 103.7, 103.700. And there. Okay, so if we can we'll come down. If we break under this local support, go back to the 5 real quick. If we stay here, over that support, stretch that out a little further for you. But if we can stay above that little blue line there, then that'll be good. This bear flag here is concerning, of course. Measured move for this bull flag would be roughly 103.7. Hey, look at that, putting us right down to test that support that we were just talking about. Where would this bull flag be invalidated? Roughly 106.7? No. Well, first it would have to flip that SAR, the stop and reversal. If that SAR can be flipped here in the next, let's say 20 to 30 minutes, then we can possibly see this 5-minute chart head back up over its 200 moving average, and the Bully Bulls can push us back up to push either over the new all-time high or to test it as resistance. Guess we'll see. Let's just head back to the 6-hour charts. We can delete that little measured move there so it's not taking up too much space. And let's take a quick peek see here at the indicators on the 6-hour chart. You'll see that we are still in bullish territory and technically still bullish momentum here on the RSI, with RSI putting in printing over its signal line while staying here in bullish territory. The stochastic RSI remains in bullish territory, however, is under its signal line. Could it get stuck up here? Well, possibly. Let's take a quick peek at the 90-minute chart. Where is that at? Well, with the RSI coming right up to local support here on its chart, we could see a bounce there. If we could see a bounce there, then the stochastics are going to start showing us upward momentum from here. It's already started, finding a little bit of resistance at the 50, finding it hard to get back into bullish territory here on the 90-minute chart. We're also seeing some cat ears forming, a cat ears pattern. It's like a double top pattern, but it looks a little more pointy. That would break down back to, again, our last all-time high of 103.7-ish. So yeah, it looks like everything's pointing for us to come back down and retest 103.7. Now, of course, that could be wrong. This is a game of probabilities. I'm going to say 80% chance that that is correct, though, and that we'll see a retest of our last all-time high before we see a breakout over our new all-time high to reach our targets of, let's say 115 to 124. What else can I show you? Oh yeah, we're still on the 90. Will the 90-minute turn around? Let's take a look at the 22. Well, the 22 RSI we can see is in bearish territory, and the stochastics are pointing down, well down. However, they are finding themselves in oversold territory, so possibly this is where a reversal comes. So like I said, was like I was saying when we were looking at this 5-minute chart, this is where the reversal needs to happen. We're either going to see this invalidated and come back up, or we're going to see this bear flag play out and bring us down. So that's where we're going. Once we come down to retest this previous all-time high, well, then we can see if it breaks, and if it does, then look for these other support levels to hold. But as we have been talking about the last few days as well, this upward trending wedge slash bull flag of the bull flag, but it is an upward trending wedge nonetheless, could, reverse back down all the way to the beginning of the wedge, and turn into a downward trending wedge, come back down to the beginning of that wedge, where 80, as low as 87-ish, 86-ish, 85-ish. Not scaring you though. We are in the beginning of the bull market, into the banana zone where things start moving quickly, if they're gonna. But I say we got like a 70% chance that we are still got more upside, even more than that, like 80-90% chance that there's still more upside ahead of us because of the things that we were talking about yesterday. High RSI still during a bull run on the daily. Go watch that video, you'll see what I'm saying. Anyway, the 6-hour is pretty far from its 2-hour, but not so much from its 21. Same thing with the daily. It is making moves, but it's still pretty close from its 21 moving average. So the moves could still keep going, like we were saying yesterday. So yeah, that's about it. Look for it to get back up to new all-time high if that 5-minute chart flag is invalidated, and not so much if it's not, then it's heading back down. But you'll notice that the SAR here is still bullish on the 6-hour chart, so that's a good thing. One last thing I wanted to show you guys is this one last indicator, Bollinger Band width percentile. Now this indicator is a volatility indicator. I'm going to move it up. I like to have it at the top of my chart instead of the bottom, so just bear with me for a moment as I move this indicator tediously all the way up to the top of the chart. That's where I like to have it. Okay, now let's bring it to all of them, and now I'll explain what the BBWP is. So the BBWP is the Bollinger Band width percentile. I showed you Bollinger Bands. Those show you kind of what range that they're going to be moving in, what kind of range, barring a breakout. what kind of range price will be moving in barring a breakout. Breakouts can be shown from squeezes on the Bollinger Bands. Now what is this Bollinger Band width percentile? Well, that is basically looking back at the last 200 candles. What was the Bollinger Band's width for that candle, like the difference between the top and the bottom, and judging what it is now versus those last 200. So is it higher than or lower than what percentile of those 200? When it gets high like this, that means that it's wider and there's more volatility than the last 200 candles that have been measured. So when this is high, that means more volatility. It doesn't indicate direction, it indicates volatility. So as we can see, volatility started shooting up right here. Got up real high over its 50 line, and that's where you kind of see the big moves happening. And you'll see volatility is also coming up here on the daily as well. And when we see volatility start coming up over that 50 on the daily is usually when we see some big moves occur. The last time we saw it on the daily, we moved up from 77,000 all the way to 93,000, and then as volatility maintained its high percentile, as indicated by the BBWP, we saw some more upwards momentum. And then as volatility decreased, we didn't see quite as much movement. See how the Bollinger Bands also squeezed as that happened? Yep. All right, so now we're looking at the volatility going up more, and we're looking at the Bollinger Bands stretching up, getting a little wider. So yeah, I think that we're still seeing this upward momentum on the stochastics on the daily. I think that regardless of whether we come down and touch that last all-time high and test it as support or not, we're seeing some more moves up here in the next day or so. All right, I got nothing else for you. Thank you guys. Remember, practice safe, good trading, practice good risk management, never put in more money than you are willing to lose. You are risking it, so take accountability. Don't blame others for you investing, because if you make money, it's your fault, right? But if you lose money, it's also your fault. All right, much love. Peace out. See you later.